Welcome, everybody, to Denver Startup Week Basecamp, launched by Chase. Today's the second day of our noon to 2 leadership spotlight sessions, and I'm Chuck Sullivan with Something Independent, and I have the distinct pleasure of sitting here today with Annalisa Lovely, the CEO of Icelantic Skis. Someone who I have a high amount of respect for, and I'm proud to call a close friend as well. So,
thanks, Chuck.
Welcome, Anna.
Thank you.
I had to kind of remind myself. I'm like, wait a minute, crap. Some of these folks don't know you or know the Icelantic Skis story. Mm-hmm. So why don't you start out? Give us a little. Let's tell people about Icelantic Skis.
How many of you guys have heard of Icelantic Skis? Nice.
Boom.
Boom, that was a good one. I'm used to the opposite. So Icelantic Skis, for those of you who don't know, we're a ski company based here in Denver, Colorado. All of our skis are made here in Denver at the Never Summer Snowboard Factory. And we are 8 years old, and we sell in specialty retailers all over the country, and now we're distributed in 17 countries around the world too. So we've had a good success so far in the past 8 years, and we've managed to keep everything here in Colorado and in the U.S. for all of our clothing and stuff. But all of the skis are made here in Denver, and it was started by my good friend Ben and myself and our other friend Travis Parr, who's the artist, and we all grew up in the mountains west of Denver, Idaho Springs, Evergreen area, and we're all skiers, and Ben just had the idea one day to start making skis, and he got an apprenticeship, learned the art of making skis, and that was kind of the beginning of a really long story.
Manufacturing, it's one of the tracks of Denver Startup Week, but it's obviously, a hot topic today wherever you turn. Sort of onshoring, made in the USA, and certainly made here in Colorado. What was the transition point when, you guys went from making skis on a press in, was it Travis's garage?
Ben's garage. Ben's parents' garage, yeah.
To a partnership with Never Summer and keeping it local but still outsourcing it, contracting.
Yeah, we went through 3 or 4 different contract manufacturers before we found, we'd all known about Never Summer because we grew up here, so Never Summer was always like the pie in the sky kind of that we wanted to work with because they have such a great reputation and make great quality products. So, but we had to go through 2 or 3 different little manufacturers. I mean, the first year we were in business, we got a total order of like 100 pairs or something to make. So we gave it to the factory, and we got like 6 pairs delivered or something. I mean, it was bullshit. But so that happened I think 2 or 3 times with different small manufacturers like that made like wakeboards or skateboards or something, and they were like, yeah, we can make skis for sure. And then finally, with a lot of persistence, we knocked down Never Summer's door, and they didn't want to make skis for us because they're a snowboard manufacturer, and that was kind of crossing the line, and then finally they gave in, and now we've become a pretty significant part of their facility. So.
Yeah, how does that work? I mean, you just send them a file with some design specs and and deliver the materials, and they're like, cool, we'll see you in 2 months, or are you in the office with them looking over each other's shoulders,
Yeah, well, there's a couple different, there's the process of it. Luckily, we use a lot of the same materials that they do in their snowboards, so we can cross-order a lot of the materials with them, which helps a lot. And all of our materials are from the States, too, except for a little rubber foil that comes from Japan. And then the engineering part of it, Ben sits down with Jason, their engineer, and draws the CAD out and things like that. But since the factory's right here, and there's a couple bays within the factory that are exclusive for prototypes, so we can get pretty creative in terms of playing with shapes and testing them and things like that. So that's a huge advantage of being located just 10 minutes away.
We talked a little bit about manufacturing, not just a product, but a lifestyle. And Icelantic, I think, represents that. You got anything to say about that?
Yeah, I can write books on that. Yeah, I think it's one of the things that I'm really into right now about building this business is the idea, not only are we making a really high quality product that people can enjoy in the mountains, so we're getting people out into nature and having fun and putting smiles on their faces, but I mean, just everything that goes along with that, the undercurrents of that, of like what it means to be a skier, or what it means to live an active, healthy lifestyle and things. I mean, it's all the like, kind of the buzz that's going around, especially in Denver right now, is this like, have a lifestyle that you can live and work and play, and it's all relatively balanced. So yeah, I mean, that's what is contained in the logo. You know, that's when I see like the vision of Icelantic, I don't know, 5, 10, 20 years out. It's like I want people to see that 1 degree Celsius, which is the temperature of change. You know, that's where things start to happen. And to know that that's what it represents is this sort of a catalyst for doing things differently and not being a slave to the 9 to 5. I mean, we're all here at Startup Week, right? You guys get this, so.
Change.
Change. Yeah.
Anna, you just transitioned recently from the global brand director for Icelantic into the position of CEO. What's that been like? You know, you've been, yeah.
Well, I literally last night I wrote a newsletter to our newsletter base called, and I titled it CEO ? Because it's been it's been a ride. I mean, these, the group of Icelantic is a pretty close group of friends. I mean, it started from a really core group of friends, and now it's evolved into a little bit bigger circle. But I'm really close with everybody, and everyone's really close together. And there hasn't been much accountability or definite leadership up until this point. So it's been hard to lay down the law a little bit and kind of create a culture of fun and freedom, but also one of safety and accountability too. So it's been nuts. It's challenged me harder than anything I've ever done before in my life, for sure. I mean, I've done a lot more hard physical things, which is like where I'm great at, but this mental stuff and like sitting in an office and doing hard stuff is it's challenging. It's a whole other animal.
I think that's a consistent theme for probably a lot of startups, you know.
Yeah.
People getting together with friends and colleagues, and then it's like, whoa, probably get to that point, you know. And has there been some angst?
Oh,
like
man,
personal and professional?
Major angst, and a lot of mornings where I wake up kind of like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I mean, you hear this, I heard these stories all the time before I came into this role, you know, and it's like, oh, whatever. And now I'm like, it's really real. Like, I have to remember to the core of my being, like, why I'm doing this and what I'm doing, because so much bullshit can float up on the surface of, like, every day, you know, you're getting smacked in the face with decisions that you're having to make that you've never even thought would ever come up. And so it's easy to get sucked up on the surface and operate up there where there's a bunch of crazy storms and seagulls and stuff. But if you can, that's what I'm working on right now, is like maintaining a depth.
This may be being live streamed on Chase TV. Would it be an appropriate time to let Ben know he's fired?
Yeah. Yes, Ben, you're fired. Just kidding. Ben's like my best friend and co-founder. He's definitely not fired. I cry to him at least 4 times a week, so no.
Talk about the importance of being able to play together, though. You know, work hard, play hard, but what does it mean to Icelantic and your company to be able to play together?
Playing in general, I think, is something that's important for humans, for sure. And when you're in a situation like we are, growing a company, super high tension, high pressure from every angle. I mean, every single person in our company is feeling a lot of pressure and stress right now in their own way. You know, everything is relative. So, yeah, we really try to promote playfulness, and we do that like our sailing trip that we go on every year. For example, as many of us as we can. We try to go on a big sailing trip every year down in the West Indies or wherever. We partner with the Moorings, which is a sail charter company. And on Friday night, we're all going to Lakeside if anyone wants to come to just let loose a little bit, you know.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it's important because feelings are self-perpetuating. So with, you know, one person has stress, the next person is going to feel it, and you know, it's just, oh my God, it infects an office. And then on the opposite side, if one person's pumped, then that's contagious too. So yeah.
Yesterday we had a conversation with 3 Denver brewers, all 3 who are going through major expansions, adding second production facilities with Great Divide, Renegade Brewing Company, and Denver Beer Company. And I think we're seeing this sort of boom in the craft manufacturing industry and arena. You know, it's beyond beer, of course, and I think we're seeing it in the ski and snowboard industry. And you know, what's that? Talk to us about that.
It is everywhere. I mean, it's in the music industry, the art industry. I think it's because information is so much more readily accessible, and you know, people have access to so much more. Consumers just in general have a lot more power. And well, hold on, I got to get back to. I think, God, that's just a huge question. But yeah, that's happening everywhere. I mean, in the ski industry, it is a little harder to enter the market. The barriers to entry are huge because manufacturing goods is it's a pretty expensive endeavor. And the market is guarded by 100-year-old companies that own 80% of the market, you know. So
yeah, who are the big guys? Who owns 80% of the market?
K2, Solomon, Rosignol, Vocal, Atomic. It's just like Coors, Budweiser,
right?
Whatever.
But you know, Icelantic is, you know, I think you're the largest independent ski maker in Colorado.
Oh yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. And on the national scene, one that's probably garnering as much attention as any other one. And you know, I see things a couple ways. You know, on one hand, all these other folks popping up, and it's, you know, potentially competition. You know, on the other hand, it's sort of everybody raising the bar for one another. And I know you're on the board of the SIA, Snow Sport Industries America, and I imagine that's a topic of conversation. And if I have this right, the growth curve has been pretty flat in general, but the craft small batch folks have seen a little bit.
Yep. Yeah.
More growth.
Craft is taking more market share. The growth of the industry is not declining, but it's very slowly, steadily increasing. So it's not like a very attractive industry to start a business in because there's no increasing, you know, participation per se that's noteworthy. So it's just you're taking market share away from the people that have been here forever.
So what would you recommend to somebody who came to you and said, I'm looking at starting my own ski company?
I'd say, good luck, buddy. No, I mean, you have to be different. You know, it's just with anything. You have to have a differentiating factor, and ours is made in the States, and that because most of the skis and snowboards even are made in Asia or Eastern Europe. And you guys all know, I mean, you're probably pretty conscious consumers, especially being in Denver, that people now look to companies and brands that they can associate with or relate to or things like that. And so if you're just another ski company that's having your skis pressed in China and you're putting your logo on it, I mean, you're not going to survive. I'll tell you that much. There has to be something different about what you're doing in any business. You know, I mean, they say, like, pick something that somebody's doing well and do it 10% better. You know, so that's a pretty easy way to do it. But that 10% is a really important percentage to nail.
You know, one of the things that, you know, I think is a differentiator, and certainly Colorado, and I think Icelantic Skis is the kind of company that has an outsized impact on sort of our culture here in this city, the state, your brand ambassador in many ways. You know, how do you feel about that, and does it work both ways?
Yeah, I feel really lucky and just fortunate that we decided to. Well, we're from Colorado, but it's kind of cool that we ended up in Denver. Out of, you know, we're a ski company, which people are like, you should probably be in the mountains, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, maybe. But Denver has this, I mean, people come to Denver to live a super active, healthy lifestyle. And again, that balance and, I mean, of work and play and everything. So I think if we can kind of be the iconic brand that represents that in this city, that's the hottest city in the States right now, for this kind of healthy way of living, then I think that that's pretty prime position for us. And yeah, having our, you know, we have our First Fridays and community gatherings, and so people can come into our office and meet us and get to know the company and get to know the brand and things like that. And I just think that's kind of a cool, I'm into people and I'm into community, so I like that.
How's it received and or sort of leveraged or marketed when you're outside the U.S.? I know you opened a year and a half ago now, your office in Austria?
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yeah. It's received well. Denver is on the map for skiing in all over the world. I mean, Denver's one of the ski capitals of the United States, according to the rest of the globe. So you mentioned Denver or Aspen, or, you know, people know Colorado for skiing. So that adds a lot of validity to what we're doing. But made in the USA, the fact that our skis are made in the USA isn't as strong in Europe because all of their skis are made in, you know, well, not all of them, but a lot of their skis are born from Europe, so that's not as strong for us. But like in Asia and stuff,
Is Colorado a good story for you over there?
Yeah.
I mean, in your marketing, you talk about differentiating.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're in markets over in Europe, is being a Colorado story part of what you're selling?
For like, kind of like what I was saying, because it is kind of a ski capital. So it adds a lot of validity, and people have a picture of the Rocky Mountains in their head. And so, yeah, it's a good story, definitely. I don't think they understand the mindset and all this like kind of fluffy stuff that I'm talking about as much, but that's ultimately what we're exporting. Like,
well, you know, expansion and growth like that takes capital. And, you know, I think it's pretty easy to think about getting a pair of skis, getting a board, heading up to the mountains, and how cool is it to work with, be a part of a ski or snowboard company. But, you know, we started this yesterday with the brewers. You know, to undergo that type of expansion and growth to get you from here to here takes money. And as I understand it, Icelantic is now undergoing a recapitalization.
yes.
So, and I think in the startup week, kind of this whole ecosystem of getting together and swapping stories, we hear a lot of talk about funding and financing and exits and IPOs and that kind of stuff. But, you know, you've got your own version of it.
Yeah, it's really, funding growth is a really sensitive line to dance on, you know, because I mean, my number one goal is to create a very sustainable company in, I mean, financially, socially, environmentally, everything like that. So yeah, I mean, funding growth, in an industry like ours, which isn't like a tech company or tech startup that is going to show 200% return in 2 years or something like that. We're very slow growth, so it's tricky to I've found it tricky, and I just started this process of recapitalization. But to go traditional routes of like lending and things like that, that's not even kind of on my plate right now. So yeah, I mean, I'm learning a lot about all that right now, and it's tricky.
Who do you turn to? Like who are you talking to? You talking to other ski makers, or?
I've talked to other ski makers, other people who have done this, lawyers who are, you know, I mean, I have a good lawyer friend who is really into like alternative forms of funding, and I'm talking to the Office of Economic Development here and the Small Business Development Center. I just like opened my vault of network, and I was like, tell me anything.
No stone unturned.
Yeah, no stone unturned. And it's fascinating. There's a lot of sources out there for money, a lot. And I know everyone hears that, but it's cool to open your mind and get creative. And more, I think there's even more creative sources.
Last question before we turn it over to you folks to ask anything you might like to hear from Anna is being a woman CEO in an industry that is predominantly a bunch of bros. Good bros for the most part, because I get to work around them every day. So it's good folks, but it's a little bit, a lot of testosterone.
A lot of testosterone. And I'm a sensitive girl, too. I am. I mean, I'm really, like, it's crazy. But it's allowed me to really work on myself and find my voice. And I think the balance is so important of having, like, all of this, like, charged, go get it energy, and, like, give me, like, bulldog, you know, like, give me a task, I'll complete it. And I'm like, all right, you know, like, I don't know, it's a good balance. I mean, at first, it was hard. I've always been the only woman in the company until recently, right, which is great. But yeah, it's the same old story. I mean, men and women operate differently. We think differently. More and more women are coming into leadership roles, which I'm really, really passionate about, and because I think the world needs a little bit more balance there. So
who do you look at in terms of sort of who inspires you, and who do you think about as just inspiring as a woman leader? Doesn't have to be in your industry.
God, Beyonce. I mean,
can we have a tune?
Yeah, later, after happy hour.
No, These are also karaoke mics every day.
Yeah. And
we'll
I
be here
really
at 4 o'clock
love
all week.
Karaoke. No, but like Kim Jordan from New Belgium has set a really cool example, especially in the industry that she's in. Also, I mean, so many industries are dominated by men, and this is a whole, like, it's a whole paradigm shift in my head, like, big picture, which is really going to be healthy for everything. But yeah, she's really just set a good example, I think, for creating a sustainable culture within her company. And there's a lot of different, but I wasn't kidding about Beyonce. I mean, it's like for anyone to go, that was so random that Beyonce just came out of my mouth right now, but I'm going with it. I mean, she's just chill, you know? I mean, for her to like have the courage to just do it, you know? I mean, that's what you got. That's what all of us are doing ultimately, and it takes a lot of courage to just get out there and fucking sing your heart out. And that's what we're all doing in our own businesses, is singing your hearts out, right? Like, you're exposing your soul and your heart, and hopefully you are. Yeah, so I relate. That's why I sing karaoke every once in a while.
That is awesome. That's a great one. Entrepreneurs of Denver are singing their hearts out.
That's what you gotta do.
Perfect way to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Anna, thank you. We do have a couple minutes for a question or two or three, if anybody's got one out there for Anna, Icelantic. Yeah.
When your company first started out, what'd you do to get your company's name out there?
To get our name out there?
Marketing.
Kind of a combination of different things. Within the industry, we went to trade shows, which is funny because I personally think trade shows are kind of archaic for what they used to be used for, because the internet exists now and people can find you anywhere, you know? But if you're in a specific industry, trade shows are great because that's where a concentration of people are that can help you. And otherwise, I mean, skiing and, you know, wherever your product is used, we started really local like that, and then a website. And I'm really into PR and just connecting people and telling the story and things like that. And that's one of the best things you can do because it's free. And when you have other people validating your brand, that's way better than when you are, so. And just talk about it all the time. Yeah, at the bar. People will probably hate you for it, but.
In between karaoke songs. Yeah, one more.
How did you decide on the name Icelantic?
It's the only part of our whole story that's kind of not that cool. It's the artist Travis Parr, his ex-girlfriend Lindsay. We were brainstorming names on the phone one day, and she goes, "What about Icelantic?" in the background, and Ben was like, "What did you say, Icelantic?" And that's the story.
Startup.
Yeah, totally. It's funny. It's a tricky name because a lot of people say Icelandic, but it's a good one. I'm into it.
It is good.
Yeah.
We got time for one more if there is one, or we can wrap it up.
From where you started to today, what are you looking at as far as like number of sales? Like how many units are you going to sell this year versus 5 years ago, and what do you expect over the next 5 years? What's the curve?
I just had to do all this for my recapitalization, so I'm glad you asked. We're currently selling about 6,000 pairs of skis. And to put that into perspective, I mean, Atomic sells 1.3 million pairs of skis, or they produce that many. So huge differential. Yep. They produce for a lot of other brands, though, so it's... So in 5 years, we're at, it's 3 years. I want to be at 10,000 units, and that's pretty conservative because I feel like we're on a tipping point right now. But 3 years, 10,000 units, and then 5 years, I don't know, 20,000 units. Yeah, thanks. We'll see how that goes.
We have no doubt it will go well.
Thanks, Chuck.
Keep talking to people like this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Anna. For those who haven't seen or been on Icelantic skis, check them out. They're works of art beyond being just fantastic skis. This January, it'll be the 4th, maybe 5th year now. They're also producing one of the coolest outdoor music shows in the world. Sold out Red Rocks 3 years in a row. So I brought my inaugural year one Icelantic Winter on the Rocks hoodie.
Yeah, it's the only winter concert at Red Rocks.
9,500 people, late January every year. Pretty cool. Bundle up, get out there.
Oh, nice. That was
Nice.
like, we cued that.
We've been practicing all week.
Yeah.
No, Annalisa, lovely Icelantic Skis CEO, thanks for being here with us at the Leadership Spotlight session. I just want to thank Denver Startup Week and its partners, the Colorado Technology Association, Comcast, Downtown Denver Partnership, and of course Chase, who has been so gracious to help really host the entire Basecamp for the week and these conversations. So thanks everybody. Anna?
Thank you, Chuck. That was great.